Hello guys, you're King Ivan. It's about time BX Turk with another Final Fantasy discussion, and I'm back to doing what I need to do, back to videos again. And I also want to apologize for that clickbait title thing, because I was under the impression that that fan art thing was actually the real thing. It looked that realistic, and I apologize and changed the title to that video, so anyone could leave me alone on that since I've changed everything and did what I need to do. You know. And again, I apologize for that. I just, I was under the impression it was real. But with another Final Fantasy VII Remake discussion. And the question, and this is actually a question. Will the Final Fantasy VII, would the Final Fantasy VII Remake have the Lucrecia, Vincent, Hojo story? Now, it is a small possibility. On the fact that Lucrecia was in the original, only those one flashbacks where you get Vincent Valentine's last limit breaks. So, again, it's kind of a grayish area, if you will, that we might get Lucrecia's story. And if they do, since this is going to be a full game, if they do, I believe they can put the full story and make it better than Dirge of Cerberus was. Don't get me wrong, Dirge of Cerberus was a good game. I love Dirge of Cerberus, even today. But Dirge of Cerberus has flaws. Let's be quite honest. It has flaws. It has flaws in, like, its storytelling. Just a little bit. So, this could be a good thing. This could make Vincent Valentine a much more established and better character, as well as Lucrecia, so we can care more about her and what happened. And actually, it could be possible, due to the fact that Lucrecia is actually Sephiroth's birth mother. It could be possible, and since this game's going to focus around, the remake for Final Fantasy VII is going to focus on the characters, okay, hold up, sorry, I just wanted to read a text. It's an Overwatch invite, so I'm gonna finish this video first. But anyways, what was I saying again? Oh yeah, sorry, I lost track of thought with the text message. Phones are a distraction, kids. I'm gonna let you know that right now. But no, anyways, she was Sephiroth's birth mother. So if they do, they could make this a better story. And they could probably showcase the abuse that she gets from Hojo, because she was an abused character. In Dirge of Cerberus, she was an abused character. Now, this one I have the Dirge of Cerberus overtones. Like I said before, there's not going to be no Grimoire, Valentine, Deep Ground, or any of this stuff, because Tetsuo Nomura said himself that the remake is only going to have everything that was all on the original. So, if it wasn't on the original, or wasn't even included, even a side story, if it wasn't even a side story within the Final Fantasy original PlayStation 1 game, then it's not going to show up in the remake of Final Fantasy VII. That's what he says. So again, because he said Crisis Core and all that stuff, Dirge of Cerberus, I Have Children is no longer canon anymore. So, and if this game's going to focus on Cloud and Sephiroth, like the way Nomura and Visions, then it's a slight chance. I'm gonna say, I'm not good with percentages, but I'm gonna say percentages 50-50. And even without the 50-50, there's a good chance that there's a good chance that the Lucrecia storyline could still happen. It could still be part of the lore. It could still be what it is, and an established thing to the Final Fantasy VII Remake. It just be retold, just like I said with the whole Zack's role in Final Fantasy VII Remake. What's it gonna be like? I think anything is probably gonna be, if it's not gonna be the flashbacks like that, there's probably going to be a small increment of flashbacks, or even a DLC flashback or something like that, or maybe a DLC timeline where you're Turk, Vincent, and then you figure out the mystery of everything that happened with Lucrecia and the conceptions of Sephiroth, you know, during that time. And like I said, if this is gonna play with Cloud and Sephiroth, this is gonna be about everyone in the game. Everyone's gonna get their swords because this is gonna be a full game. No episodes are gonna be needed. And maybe there might be some DLC that they could sell out and shell out, but it's more likely that it could happen. Now, I say this is only a theory, so we don't get mad, type angry things on the keyboard, or dislike, you know, because I'm getting tired of that annoying shit. And, you know, certain little shits coming up on here trying to troll me on my YouTube account, which, you know, I'm not going to talk about that, but the point is, the point I'm trying to say is that it could happen. It's a 50-50. She wasn't that much, you know, I played that much big role in the original game. But if this game follows the full stories of Cloud and Sephiroth that the original did not, that it could be possible they might shove a Lucrecia, Hojo, and Vincent storyline. And even without that extra cutscene, when you go get Vincent in the original game, where you unlock Vincent in the original game, when you open that casket to see him, he does mention Lucrecia's name. So, again, it's a 50-50 chance. Now, the way I could see it is it's probably going to showcase the abuse that Hojo gives to Lucrecia, and it's probably going to be more detailed showing of Hojo only using Lucrecia to birth the perfect warrior. And that perfect warrior was Sephiroth. And maybe they could add a little bit more with kid Sephiroth's early childhood. Maybe if this is going to be a full episodic game, maybe they could showcase Sephiroth's childhood to show you how horrible Sephiroth's childhood really was. And stuff like that he was raised in the lab and only kept as to be a powerful experiment under the Shinra military academy's, jurisdiction, as well as Hojo's jurisdiction and President Shinra, as well as Professor Gast. I don't know, sorry, I can't really speak today. Professor Gas as well. Until Professor Gas, of course, quits, which doesn't happen in the original game. But, you know, we maybe after what happens to Lucrecia, we might see a little bit small thing of childhood, of Sephiroth's childhood, because, well, it would put more detail and give you leverage, and one of the reasons why Sephiroth did what he did, of course. Sephiroth not knowing this, of course, he thinks that he's fighting for a good cause, because it's not until Sephiroth's a full-grown man that he looks into the Shinra archives and realizes that what they did to him was really wrong all this time, and that his whole life was a lie. This would be perfect to showcase all the abuse Lucrecia has taken from Hojo, as well as that love triangle that Lucrecia had with Professor Hojo and Vincent Valentine, which will make Vincent still relevant to the game. But, you know, I think it'd be better if they went a little bit darker for Final Fantasy VII, you know, remake, especially since they can, because it is a legit remake with Unreal Engine. So I think this might be a much darker, grittier version of the PlayStation 1 game. So maybe they could showcase almost everything that happens to Lucrecia, you know, before Sephiroth's birth, and then a little bit of Sephiroth's childhood, which would make sense. Especially when we start entering the flashbacks, because there are a lot of flashbacks in Final Fantasy VII. There are a whole bunch of flashbacks in the original Final Fantasy VII. Well, if this is going to be a full game, and we're talking about a huge game, episodic, I think it's physically possible. I think it's physically possible to fit in stuff they never put in the original in there. And now I'm not talking about from the compilation. Like, expand on the original Final Fantasy VII. Like, expand things that weren't stories that were never told before from the original game that was in the original game in detail, besides just reading text on the screen. because they're gonna have voice acting and Unreal Engine characters that look ultra realistic. We could have a bigger and powerful, detailed story like no others. This could be the best Final Fantasy game of the entire world. This could bring Final Fantasy back to where it should have been, because 15 has obviously failed with that. I love 15, but it didn't get Game of the Year for good reasons, for the story cuts. And since they're gonna make a full game for the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I don't see why they can't add a Lucrecia storyline, because she is the birth mother of Sephiroth. And they could probably tell a better story. It could be possible to get redemption in this regard, because maybe they could tell a better story than Dirge of Cerberus, because many people didn't like Dirge of Cerberus. Maybe they could tell a better story that everybody else likes. Now, I personally like Dirge of Cerberus. I don't see anything wrong with it, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion versus, 6.1 billion people on the earth. But you get the point. My opinion is only one small minority to a bigger opinion. All the other people in the crowd didn't like the Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus PS2 game, because maybe they can make it a better one. So, much better, more detailed, especially since there's not going to be no deep ground or interference from Professor Grimoire. Maybe they could mention a little bit, but I know they're probably not going to do that. But hint some stuff at that. But otherwise, this is going to be a totally new canon, and I want to see a Lucrecia story. But tell me what you think in the comments below. May the crystal be with you. Tell me if you want to see a better storyline or not of this. Yay or nay if this should happen. And I'm going to get on the Overwatch. This Overwatch is free for a weekend, so may the crystal be with you.